Ever feel completely fine until you're alone in a dark room and suddenly every horror movie you've ever seen decides to throw a reunion in your head? That's not you being dramatic. That's your amygdala, your brain's very own prehistoric security system, slamming the panic button like it's trying to win a game show. Your amygdala is still operating under the assumption that any shadow might be a tiger, or a rival clan, or a spider the size of your face. It's not great at updates. Evolution left it on iOS 1.0. See, back in caveman times, that little zap of fear meant survival. If your brain didn't overreact to rustling in the bushes, you'd end up as saber-toothed chow. Fast forward to now, and that same system is screaming danger when the pizza guy rings the doorbell at 10 p.m. Your prefrontal cortex, the rational part of your brain, tries to intervene, whispering things like, "It's probably just the wind," or "Calm down, we're in a suburb." But your amygdala doesn't care. It just chugs adrenaline like a frat boy at a keg stand and sets off your fight or flight mode, even though the scariest thing in the room is your electric bill. Basically, you've got a 200,000-year-old threat detector living in a modern studio apartment with Wi-Fi and zero predators. And it's freaking out over shadows like they owe it money. You walk into a room, trip slightly, and suddenly you're convinced 87 people saw it, judged you, and now you have to move to another country. Classic caveman software bug. Back in tribal days, being watched meant your status was being evaluated. And if the group didn't like your vibe, exile. And exile equals death by hyena buffet. So yeah, your brain treats social embarrassment like an actual survival threat, because in the ancient brain's rulebook, humiliation is fatal. It's called the spotlight effect, a cognitive distortion where you assume you're the main character in everyone else's mental Netflix. In reality, most people are too busy panicking about their imaginary spotlight to care about yours. But your prehistoric brain doesn't know that. It still thinks you're sitting around a fire with 15 other people and that Karen from the berry-picking squad will absolutely vote you out if you say something weird. So it scans for danger, not wolves, but awkward silences. Not spears, but rejection. And that's why your heart races during a Zoom call when you unmute your mic and say, "Sorry, go ahead," and everyone just stares. Your caveman instincts would literally rather fight a bear than make small talk at a networking event. You're not hangry. You're reverting to your primal hunting mode. When your blood sugar drops, your body doesn't just suggest eating. No, it initiates a full-body coup. Suddenly, your co-worker's chewing becomes a war crime, and the line at Starbucks feels like a personal attack. Why? Because for most of human history, food was not 3 taps away on a glowing rectangle. It was rare, required effort, and you had to be mean to get it sometimes. So your body evolved to treat hunger like DEFCON 1. Cue the drop in serotonin, the rise in cortisol, and your brain whispering unhinged things like, "Tackle that guy. He has snacks." This is not you being grumpy. This is millions of years of evolution preparing you to spear a woolly mammoth for lunch. And you can't logic your way out of it. You can know exactly why you're irritable and still fantasize about kicking a vending machine in the face. Basically, hunger turns you into a toddler with murder impulses, because in caveman times, polite people starved. Let's be honest. If a kale salad and a slice of pizza got into a fight, your brain would be in the crowd cheering for pizza with a foam finger. It's not just taste, it's survival software. Salt, fat, and sugar were insanely rare in nature. So when your caveman ancestors stumbled across a calorie bomb like honey or roasted mammoth blubber, their brains went full send. That behavior got hardwired. Fast forward to now, and your brain still treats processed food like it's sacred treasure. Except now you're binging Pringles, not hoarding dried elk meat. And here's the kicker. The more high-calorie junk you eat, the more your dopamine system rewards you, until your brain thinks sugar, love, and salt, and yin safety. Meanwhile, broccoli gets treated like betrayal. So yeah, your biology is stuck in hunter-gatherer mode while you live in a 24-hour snack utopia. And that's why your willpower isn't failing. It's just getting steamrolled by evolutionary cravings optimized for survival, not summer bodies. Basically, Your brain is a 50,000-year-old raccoon with a treasure map that only points to Cheetos. You're not restless, you're a bored cave creature in an artificial habitat. Ever tried to sit down and just relax, only to find yourself reaching for your phone, twitching your foot, or inexplicably rearranging your kitchen drawer at 11 p.m.? That's your brain doing laps in its cage because it wasn't designed to sit still and do nothing. It was designed to hunt, gather, escape predators, and gossip aggressively around a fire. Modern life is mostly static. We stare at glowing rectangles and occasionally walk to the fridge. But your body, it still thinks it's supposed to be scanning the horizon for rival tribes or chasing something furry with a spear. So when there's no physical activity or perceived danger, it panics by making you fidget. What's worse? Your brain hates boredom, like viscerally. In studies, some people preferred electric shocks over sitting alone with their thoughts. That's not just a random personality quirk. It's primal wiring that tells you, do something or you'll die alone and useless. So when you find yourself cleaning your bathtub with a toothbrush at midnight instead of doing nothing, congratulations, you're obeying ancient survival software that assumes stillness equals weakness equals death. Basically, your caveman instincts are allergic to Netflix and chill. Your brain doesn't care about world peace or nuclear physics as much as it cares about who Karen is dating. Why? Because social survival used to mean actual survival. If you didn't know who was sleeping with who had beef with the chief, or who got banished for eating all the dried berries, you were toast. Gossip wasn't just petty talk. It was intel. It was how you avoided betrayal, formed alliances, and climbed the prehistoric social ladder. Your ancestors didn't scroll Reddit for drama. They lived it, in real time, around the campfire. Fast forward to now, and you're still doing it. Only now, it's through YouTube comments, group chats, or obsessively checking Instagram stories like they contain state secrets. Even your brain's reward system lights up when you share juicy details. It wants to bond with others through shared judgment and laughter and scandal, because back in the day, that could mean safety, status, or even access to food. So yeah, your obsession with celebrity divorces and office drama. That's not shallow. That's caveman strategy. Basically, your brain is still in the tribe, whispering, "Tell me who got caught stealing the fish. I need to know for survival." You'd think we've evolved beyond tribal warfare, but nope. Your brain is still dividing the world into us versus them, like it's the only setting it knows. This isn't just about sports teams or fandoms. Your brain will aggressively assign identity to almost anything. Political views, favorite snacks, zodiac signs, whether pineapple belongs on pizza. It does. Fight me. The reason? Back in the Stone Age, being in a group meant safety. Being outside the group meant you were one hungry winter away from becoming saber-toothed sushi. So your brain developed strong in-group loyalty and deep suspicion of outsiders, even if the outsider is just someone who thinks the Beatles are overrated. The kicker? This wiring makes your brain reward you for conforming to your tribe and punish you for disagreeing. That's why changing your opinion publicly feels like betrayal, and defending your random hot take online feels like war. So when you're in the comments section defending your favorite TV show like it's a sacred artifact, that's not just fandom, it's tribal instinct having a meltdown. Basically, your brain thinks your Discord server is the only thing standing between you and the wilderness. You send a text, no reply. 10 minutes pass. Your brain, they hate you, they're ghosting you, maybe they're dead. That's negativity bias, your ancient brain defaulting to doom. Why? Because in the wild, assuming the worst could save your life. If you mistook a snake for a stick, that's game over. But if you mistook a stick for a snake, just a weird little panic dance and you move on. Your brain was trained to scan for danger, not delight. And it's still running that software, even when there's no actual threat, just a slow Wi-Fi connection and someone who took too long to reply LLL. That's why one rude comment outweighs a dozen compliments. Why you remember that awkward thing from 6th grade, but not your password. Why you spiral at night over that email you sent too fast. Modern peace doesn't delete ancient paranoia. Your brain is literally doing full disaster drills over minor inconveniences. Basically, it's like having a fire alarm that goes off every time someone microwaves soup. Let's talk about your just-in-case drawer. You know, the one filled with expired batteries, old birthday candles, 4 pairs of scissors, and a button that fits no known garment. Yeah, that's not clutter. That's ancient survival instinct dressed up in modern nonsense. Your caveman brain loves hoarding. Why? Because scarcity was the name of the game for most of human history. If you found something, bones, berries, a weird shiny rock, you kept it. You didn't have a target. You had to pray the mammoth came back through town. So now, even in a world where you can have 400 rubber bands delivered to your door by Tuesday, your brain still whispers, keep it. What if you need it? The result? Your closet looks like an archaeological dig site. Your pantry has 7 open boxes of pasta, and you own a phone charger for a phone you haven't had since the Obama administration. This is why throwing things away physically hurts. Your brain interprets it as potential doom. What if you need that broken flashlight during a power outage in 2046? Better keep it. Basically, your inner hoarder is just a very nervous caveman in a hoodie, muttering, "You never know." You're minding your business, sipping coffee, when someone drops a spoon. Your entire nervous system goes full code red. You flinch, your heart races, and for a split second, you genuinely think you're under attack. That's the startle reflex, or more accurately, the don't get eaten reflex. In the wild, sudden loud noises usually meant bad things. Predators, rival clans, lightning storms, or your friend Steve accidentally stepping on a rattlesnake. So your body got wired to launch into fight or flight mode at the slightest unexpected sound. That reflex? Still here. And it doesn't care that the noise came from an automatic hand dryer or a toddler with a kazoo. What's worse? Your brain doesn't ask questions first. It shoots first, asks later. Adrenaline, launched. Muscles, tensed. Pupils, dilated. You've just activated your full prehistoric defense system because someone dropped their hydro flask. It's not just funny. It's exhausting. That's why some people hate surprises. Your brain associates them with sudden chaos, not fun birthday parties. Surprise equals danger until proven otherwise. Basically, you're a meerkat in a hoodie, spinning around every time someone sneezes too loudly. Ever notice how starting a workout feels like your body is actively trying to sabotage you? You put on your shoes, and suddenly you're sleepy. You try a push-up, and your brain screams, "Let's just die instead." That's not laziness. That's ancient biology being dramatic. See, for most of human history, exercise was not optional. You didn't jog for your glutes, you ran because a lion was chasing you. Or you climbed a tree to not be dinner, so your body learned to conserve energy like it was gold. Any physical exertion not related to not dying was a bad idea. So when you, a modern human with air conditioning and oat milk lattes, choose to sweat for no reason, your inner caveman is appalled. That's why it takes so much willpower to start. Your brain thinks you're wasting precious calories that could have been used to escape a woolly rhino. Ironically, once you do start moving, your body adjusts. It's like, "Oh, we're doing this." Fine. But that first hump? It's evolutionary inertia saying, "Please no. Let's roll around in some leaves instead." Basically, your brain is stuck in save energy or die mode while you're trying to do lunges. Let's be real. If you've ever eaten chips until your hand hit the bottom of the bag and then checked if you missed any, congrats. You're just responding to millions of years of famine-fearing biology. Your body is designed to say yes to food, always. Because again, for most of human history, food wasn't predictable. There were no snack drawers or Uber Eats. There was only eat now or maybe starve tomorrow. So your brain developed a reward loop that turns eating into a feel-good festival. Dopamine? Released. Fullness signals? Delayed. Self-control? Laughed at. The system's whole purpose is to override moderation. Why stop when the next meal might be next week? But in a world where you can eat a week's worth of calories in one sitting while watching YouTube in bed, that wiring is unhelpful. Worse still, High-calorie foods hijack the system. Your brain lights up like Vegas at the sight of sugar and fat. Broccoli. That's barely a flicker. Basically, your brain is still acting like a desperate scavenger with one rule: never. Stop eating. You know that weird pit in your stomach when something in your life changes, even when it's good, like a new job, moving to a nicer apartment, or switching from Android to iPhone, traitor. That existential dread isn't just anxiety. It's caveman software freaking out over unfamiliar territory. See, your ancient ancestors survived by sticking with what they knew. Routine meant safety. If they wandered too far, they risked predators, starvation, or walking straight into rival tribe territory where they'd be turned into a cautionary tale. So your brain developed a deep suspicion of the unknown. New equals dangerous. Change equals risky. And even though modern change rarely involves venomous snakes or hostile clans, your nervous system doesn't know that. Instead, it launches a stress response the moment your surroundings shift. New school? Cortisol? New co-workers? Panic? Someone rearranged your favorite grocery aisle? Full meltdown. That's why people stay in miserable jobs, toxic relationships, or keep the same crusty pair of jeans for 10 years. Because familiar misery feels safer than uncertain improvement. Basically, your brain would rather sit in a pile of flaming garbage it recognizes than step into a mystery room with snacks. Ever wonder why you wake up in the middle of the night to a noise that turns out to be nothing but a cat sneezing 6 blocks away? Or why you toss and turn like you're auditioning for a mattress commercial? That's your ancient brain trying to keep you alive, while unconscious. Back in the good old Paleolithic days, sleeping too deeply could get you killed. So early humans developed what's called fragmented sleep, light cycles, micro-awakenings, constant sensory scanning, even while you're dreaming about weird lizard babies in space or whatever. This is also why people tend to sleep better with someone they trust in the room. Group sleeping meant extra protection. If you conked out next to 5 other snoring meat sacks, the odds of you being eaten first went down dramatically. Strength in numbers, baby. So when you hear every creak in your house like it's a home invasion, that's not your imagination. That's survival instinct on night shift. Also, ever notice you sleep like a log in hotel rooms with blackout curtains and zero stress? But your own home keeps you up. That's because your brain never fully relaxes in places where it thinks it might need to be on guard. Basically, your prehistoric sleep app is still running, and the update that includes locked doors hasn't been installed. You ever notice how your brain loves a crisis? Like, you'll ignore a pile of emails for a week, but the moment something dramatic happens, boom, you're engaged, focused, alert, and living your main character fantasy. That's not your fault. That's dopamine. Your brain's chemical reward for action, urgency, and novelty, all of which came in very handy when you were, dodging stampedes and fighting for fire. In prehistoric times, drama equals danger, and danger equals adrenaline. It meant you were paying attention, adapting fast, and ready to sprint for your life. So your brain got hooked on that rush. Nowadays, your predator is an email marked URGENT or a passive-aggressive text from your cousin. And your brain still lights up like Times Square. That's why some people unconsciously stir the pot or seek conflict, not because they're bad people, but because their brains like the chaos. Crisis gets more mental engagement than peace. And peace feels suspicious, feels boring. Basically, your brain would rather fight a bear than sit quietly and file taxes.